what's up guys? Tyree here, and in today's video I'm going to review another movie. The movie that I just watched, this is probably the second time I've watched it, and honestly, what I can say is it's not too bad of a movie. It's not like super terrifying or anything, but you can definitely get into it. So I'll basically summarize the story and then I'll tell you how I feel about it. Okay, so basically this movie is about a girl who wants to be an author, and I guess her father is rather wealthy, which makes her wealthy as well, and she meets more wealthy people who present a sort of business idea to her father, which I guess he is an important businessman, an entrepreneur and all that, and basically what ends up happening is the daughter falls in love with this man who has the business proposition, and right from the start you sort of get the vibes of each character. So like for instance with the father, he's a bit more strict, and you see that with the way he converses with everyone. And as for Thomas Sharp, he kind of has like a cold demeanor, as well as his sister. Yeah, so basically the father offers the sister and the brother money to leave his daughter alone and just leave town, basically, like don't come back, because he doesn't like the vibes that he's getting from them, which is justifiable once you get further into the film. So what ends up happening is the father gets murdered, and then the daughter, for whatever reason, just moves completely with the man that she has now fallen in love with. So like they move to England, and they move into like this spooky house which has like a bunch of rooms, like it's a big castle, and it's haunted by spirits, and the daughter of the man who just died, her name is Edith, and she's been seeing these ghosts since she was like a little kid. She kept saying visions of her mother, and then she kept getting warnings, but she didn't know why until she entered this house. And basically throughout this whole film we see like a bunch of random spurs of spirits. That's basically what I could say as one thing. And then another thing is that like the sister is just completely like very manipulative, very manipulative. Oh my god, I can't even say that word, manipulative. Anyways, you know what I mean. I don't know, my pronunciation is off right now. But anyways, the brother-sister duo, they are just completely evil. Edith doesn't find out until afterwards, after she kind of does her own investigation, because she herself was the victim of very strange occurrences. Like she kept seeing spirits and demons all over the place, so she got freaked out, and then no one would really believe her, which rose more suspicion. And basically throughout this movie we just get the characters doing different things throughout the movie. Like for instance, Thomas is trying to build some kind of device, and he keeps putting his focus on that. Edith is very infatuated with Thomas, so she just kind of goes along. The sister is completely evil, like from beginning to start. That's the vibe I got. Very good part on that actress who played her. She did a good job at giving off that vibe of just evil, and I don't really want to like you. So honestly, the best way I can summarize this without going on dragging on for too long is that Edith moved into a castle with Lucille and Thomas Sharp, who are sisters, and they come from a family of, I guess, royalty. And basically, there's a whole bunch of stories about the place that they're in, about murders of different family members, and all kinds of different stories, like a woman and her baby got murdered by, I guess, the Lucille, who's like the more evil one of the two. So basically, like, I guess they were leading her on, Lucille and Thomas were leading Edith on so that they could inherit money and blah 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 blah. And then basically what happened is that Edith started to catch on, so she stopped doing certain things like drinking the tea and getting assistance from them, and then things just started to go crazy because Lucille started to get jealous that Thomas started to feel attraction towards Edith. So that kind of jealousy was always there from the beginning, so their relationship wasn't very strong between the girls. So basically, like, Jessica tries to murder Edith, and there's a struggle, and then Edith gets away, and then they end up outside, and it just turns into a knife battle. Lucille has like a giant butcher knife, which I think was her mother's, and she basically just wants to murder. That's like her objective throughout the whole movie. I don't think she ever wanted to do anything else but just and love Thomas. Those were like her two main objectives: just love Thomas and kill anyone who comes in the way of that. So basically, they end up outside. And also I should mention that Thomas got murdered by Lucille because she got jealous that Thomas was falling even more in love with Edith than her, and yeah, she stabbed him in the face. And one thing I can say about this movie is that, like, all of the deaths were really gory and violent. So like, if you're a little kid, for instance, watching this movie, like, yeah, it'll probably shake you up a bit. But for me, it was more like I was kind of waiting to see how they pieced it together, because like the way that the style of the film is just like you literally have to pay attention to the detail, and with each new development just revealed more about each character. And honestly, to get back to what I was saying, they end up outside. There's like a big battle. There was a couple times where I thought, like, for sure Edith should have just been dead, because like a knife that big, realistically, even if it just grazed you, like, your whole arm would probably just come off. Like, what the hell? And it's being swung at you, like, that's just my opinion though, but like, it's a pretty big knife. Like, it's one of those kitchen butcher knives. Like, if someone swings that at you, I don't think that you're just gonna like brush it off. I think you'd be in a great amount of pain. Giant knife, swinging it directly at you from like 2 feet away. Like, it's not like they weren't that far from each other. That would probably cause some more damage. And there was also another part where where Edith fell and smacked her neck like off a balcony and then fell to the ground. Like, those two motions right there, like, probably would have did a lot more damage. But she managed to recover, got to that part outside, and basically, to summarize all of this, like, basically the way it ended was that they were outside in the snow and all bloodied up, everything, and basically Lucille kept repeating that she isn't going to stop until she's killed or until Edith is killed, and then Edith just hit her with a shovel a couple times, and then she said, "I heard you the first time," and then that was kind of that, and she died. And then, like, Thomas's spirit came and they had a moment, and that was it. It was alright. It was a pretty good movie, but nothing like Nothing overly terrifying. I think it was more so meant to be like a mystery, and if not, then I don't know. It just wasn't that scary to me. If you're a little kid again, then like probably, or even like a teenager, or someone who scares easily. But it, quite honestly, it was just more of like figuring out things piece by piece. Um, yeah. I don't want to call it a bad movie because it was still something that I could watch and be invested in. And I think that without the whole spirit thing, this still could have been a pretty convincible movie, because if the story behind it was just that the sister was crazy and she just wanted to murder everyone, and they didn't have to bring in all this imagery with all the shadows and like bloody extra stuff. Like the blood was fine, but like just like the whole spirit ghost kind of vibe, like it was kind of overplayed in this, because every like other second it was just that. So like timing is definitely important. They spaced out things pretty well, but at the same time, like you could just like you probably could have did without that. But I mean, like if that was part of your pitch or story, then that's fine. But to me personally, like I think that the story still would have been good without the spirits and the shadows and everything else, because like even the house itself was just so big and like it was so spacious that like you still could have had someone just running around trying to kill someone, and that could have been like a bigger story than like all the background info that they added about the family and the murders. Like even if you had that part, you didn't have to necessarily bring them back as an entity that's haunting them. Like it was a little bit extra. But anyways, that's my take on this movie. Again, it's probably better if you watch it, get your own input on it. That was like a quick summarization with some input from me. Um, Honestly, I'll leave all the links in the description so you can check it out, and stay tuned for more. Peace.